Um, bum, 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 bum. And we are live on YouTube, believe
Right
it or
on.
not.
I'm in.
Welcome everybody to episode 10 of Pick Our Brains. We'll get started here in a couple minutes.
Episode 10, Kent.
I think so. Yep.
Remember when I had to convince you?
I know. Shocking. Shocking.
I have some other ideas for you.
No. Before you know what? We're going to be on episode 507.
Well, I was watching Pure Hustle podcast the other day because Orlando's coming on my show on Wednesday, and I
Okay.
think they were in their 500th episode too.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and both of those gentlemen do a great job.
Give me a minute. I'm gonna
And don't
share this.
forget, yeah, we were at an early time last week because of Phil.
Yes.
Yeah.
True story.
We need to invite Dave Mays. We need to get Mays Books back in here for a show.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm gonna share the link if you want to entertain the folks.
Well, according to me, we got 6 people already here.
Wow. Crazy.
Man,
That
they,
was
they,
fast.
they can't get enough of my curl game. Is it my curl game you can't get enough of?
Do you think that's it? Could be, I suppose.
All right, who's here? Everybody tell me who's here. Say hello.
Bum, bum. No one wants to say hello to you. Sorry.
As soon as you say hello, they're going to want to say hello to you.
Hello, everyone. If anyone wants to say hello to me,
Such,
feel
such
free
is
to.
such is my life.
Yep.
I'll just sit here play with Rocky Sock and Robots.
I'm going to share it in the Paper Gold Discord. I can figure that out on my computer. Usually I do that on my
Is
phone.
there anybody in there? eBay's been very good today.
That's it.
Yeah.
I will say, I know I told you it's kind of a little hit and miss with me lately. It seems like I have a lot of items, books up for auction that aren't getting watchers and views and bids, so I'm ending them early. But then like the really good stuff seems to pop off and do just fine.
Right. Well, I don't know. Do you think people are saving money for the holidays? Is that what it is?
Mm, I don't know. It's Q4, so like people should be spending
Yeah.
right now for the holidays, I
Yeah. I mean,
suppose.
when I look at my eBay, the past, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the past 9 days have been remarkable except for one day. One day
Wow.
has been unremarkable, but 8 of those 9 days has been remarkable. So I think people are buying between my eBay and whatnot and a little bit of Amazon sprinkled in. Everything is according to plan.
Well, I will tell you, it seems like the chatter in the YouTube sphere, reselling YouTube area
Mhm.
is that everyone's sales, they're struggling to get the sales. They're really
So,
struggling. They're having some really bad days. And I think a lot of people have turned to promoted listings, and you are very much against promoted listings. It's a downward death spiral for your business. I think you're right about that. Like once you start promoting and paying an extra 5 or 10 or 15% in fees, your profit margin gets smaller. And uh, promoted listings help to a certain point to get you some more sales. But when your fees are going up, I mean,
you heard what they're doing now, though, right?
what?
Pay to click.
Yep. Yep. I think they've had that for a little while.
They and
And
they didn't even notify people.
no,
It
I
was
think it's something they slowly roll out. And I think the biggest drama with that is it used to be 2 cents per click was their minimum. Then they cranked it up to 5 cents per click. So if you're getting 100 clicks, it's costing you $5, even if your item isn't selling.
all right. Let's just be quiet for a second. Let me say something to eBay. Hold on.
Okay.
Dear eBay, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing to your sellers? Max Rubeck, Common Ground Finds.
Well, I will say they're trying to increase their revenue with the same amount of sellers, and actually sellers are falling off. So less sellers, instead of trying to get more buyers, which would help out the sellers and eBay, they're trying to get more money going to eBay with not expanding the pie for everyone.
Yeah, they're gonna get money for the clicks, but just because it gets how many bots are going to be incorporated into getting clicks now? I mean,
Yeah.
it just reeks of shadiness. It reeks of bad business. And once again, it's a punch in the gut to the sellers, and not only the new sellers, but the sellers who've been around for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, who who were doing eBay when you had to invoice customers, when PayPal first came in and it was 7.5% fees. I mean, we know that as years go on, things get more expensive. I'm not hiding from that fact. But at a certain point, eBay needs to take care of sellers. And I just don't know, with all of the new things that they do on the main board, I don't know how I'm being taken care of.
Yeah, it seems like sellers have a lot of things that they would like eBay to fix, whether it's unpaid items. They used to have you'd open an unpaid items case against someone. If they didn't pay in a few days, it would be a strike on their account. So they only had so many strikes before eBay would suspend them or keep them from buying.
Mhm.
Um, oh, we got Grayson Kohler in the chat. Sorry, Grayson, I didn't see your comments on my video last night until this morning. I saw them. I missed
I
them.
mean, I've even seen a little bit of chatter about people wanting to start a strike against promoted listings, where they're trying to gather the people and say, don't promote at all. And if that's the chatter now, at a certain point, eBay has to take a look in the mirror and say, this chatter may be getting louder.
Well, in the Paper Gold group, that Max runs, he runs a reselling group focused on books, and then selling on eBay, Amazon, whatnot, all the different platforms. It seems like a lot of people in that group are promoting their listings.
Mhm.
Probably a lot of them probably at like the 10% mark. So they're paying those extra fees to get the clicks and get the sales. But then it seems I don't know what percentage of eBay sellers are using promoted listings. Do you think it's a third of sellers?
No, I would say a lot less, but it's
A lot
it's
less.
it's not even about the number of sellers. It's, if you have a book that you're trying to sell, and let's just say it's a nice clean hardcover of a Harry Potter book. Let's just be very basic here. And although it's a saturated market for that book, let's say you promoted it 5%. Well, what does that mean if 25 other people have promoted it at 8%? So are you knocked off to the second page even though you've done 5%? I'm not a big fan of promoted listings. I think that when I list an item and it goes global, I don't sell in saturated markets, so it's a little bit different. If I'm selling Nike shoes or polo shirts, I do understand the idea of promoted listings. I clearly do. But when you're selling books and you're dealing with condition, and maybe you have better condition than someone else, maybe
Yeah.
you make a better listing, maybe you make a better picture. Those things count to me to not having to promote. Sell the best product you can in the best condition you can at the best price you can.
Well, but I will tell you the eBay algorithm doesn't take into consideration condition. If they see two copies of Catcher in the Rye, one's a beat up copy without a dust jacket, one's a signed copy with a dust jacket, one's priced at 2,000, one's priced at $50. eBay's probably going to show that $50 one first.
Mhm. But the person who's buying the Catcher in the Rye definitely wants the dust jacket.
Yeah, and they're going to scan through until they find one with
Right.
with
So
dust
that's
jacket.
that's the difference maker with books, but not necessarily with shoes or shirts or anything like that. I mean, eBay is alive and well. I mean, my sales are very, very good. I'm not worried about it at all. But I definitely do see on a wider peripheral vision, I see what's happening by watching YouTube and Instagram. And there are a lot of sellers out there, a lot of sellers who are just making videos unsure about what eBay is doing, angry at what eBay's doing, upset because they keep doing things and they do things without clear explanation. The latest thing that I saw is when you go on your awaiting payment eBay page, you don't see the buyer's feedback anymore. Now you can get it, but you have to now do one more click to get that
Yeah,
feedback.
that's a very strange change.
Right. But I haven't heard why where's the conversation between eBay management and its sellers of why they chose to do that?
They probably hire a small team of consultants, and some sellers probably give their feedback. But I will say I do like the new feature that when you go to your orders, your sold orders on eBay, it you can highlight over the buyer's username and it shows you your complete history with them. It shows you how many orders they've had, what their I think the price as well and stuff like that. And then you can click at it and it shows you all of their orders, which is handy because I have a lot of repeat customers. Um,
Yeah, no,
so it's good to
I
see
mean,
that.
yeah, they're not doing negative things across the board, but they're doing unexplained things across the board.
Yeah.
And there's no, I don't know, they do the quarterly newsletter and none of what they say in the quarterly newsletter is anything that appears in the reality of running an eBay store.
Yep. We got a couple chats. You want to read those
Okay.
off?
Yeah, Sue Johnson, I'm gonna go with first. I only promote if there are a lot of items. I want my item up in the first page. I mean, the only thing I would say to that for Sue is don't buy something that there are a lot of items.
Well, but like
Unless
you
you're gonna
said with
make, yeah, go ahead.
But you said Nike shoes. Okay, there's going to be millions of Nike shoes to choose
Mhm.
from, but that also sells how many hundreds of times a day. So it's
Thousands,
not
I
bad
would say thousands, yeah.
to deal in things that there's a lot of on eBay,
Yeah,
as long as the sell through rate is quick.
right. But if you and I are selling the same book and we're the only two people selling that book on eBay, what's the point of me promoting over you or you promoting over me? The discerning customer is going to buy the copy they want.
Yeah, I don't know how many people, when I'm shopping on eBay, it says sponsored. One of the first, usually the first few items are sponsored items that show up in a search. It's next to never that I'm not scrolling through dozens of listings
Right,
to find
right.
one that I
But
want.
again, what does sponsored mean?
It means that someone's paying to promote it.
Right. But it's almost, to me, it's like buying an ingredient, buying some sort of condiment at a grocery store and it says no sugar added. Well, it's, initial thought is, oh, there's no sugar. No, it's not saying no sugar, it's saying no extra sugar added. I mean, saying you're sponsored, that's, to me, that's false advertising. You're not sponsored by eBay. You're paying eBay to give you a little badge that says sponsored.
I just take it as it's a seller that is willing to pay extra to get their item sold.
Right, right.
That's the way I look at it. Okay, next
All right,
question.
Grayson, what would the alternative be? It seems like if there weren't promoted listings, you would still be at the whims of eBay's algorithm, if anything more so.
Yeah.
I was selling before there was promoted listings. There was you know, the rise of my success was before there was promoted listings. I'm selling the same thing now that I was selling 5, 8, 10 years ago before promoted listings. I do not promote. I do very well in this business without promotion because for me, it all comes down to source a great product, you'll sell great products and you'll make your money. I
If
mean, I
if
don't,
you I would say if you list a really good book at a great price, it has potential to sell the day you list it.
yeah, and they do. I mean, I listed, no, I didn't list them. My employee listed about 30 exhibition catalogs late last night, and I sold 4 already today that were not even listed 24 hours. You already know, I have very little money invested in these. So, I don't know how to, keep saying the same thing over and over again with a new twist. It's just about product for me. For me, it's just about product.
Yeah. Yeah, I told you, I think it was a month ago, I sold a really expensive book for $265, I think. And I think I had paid $65 for it. And
Mhm.
then I didn't promote it. And the eBay fees, the final
Oh,
value
yeah.
fee and the processing fee were like 40 some bucks. And I'm like, holy crap, like that really cuts into your profit. You think you're selling a book for 265 and you think you're making a couple $100, and after the fees, it's no, it's not as great as you'd like to think.
Well, I mean, the fees are, for the fees are the fees. They're always going to increase. Um, but this is an issue we can talk about time and time again.
Mhm.
I'm just not a fan of promoted listings. I know that I do battle sometimes with my fellow paper golders about it. I do ask them to explain the algorithm. I do have them explain what a promotion means. Um, I'm still
And
not sold.
I'm not completely against paying promote to promote your items and then
Mhm.
paying extra when they actually sell. But the
Right.
paying for clicks when your items aren't even selling seems crazy as heck. And
Yeah.
actually,
What,
so
what you're
eBay,
doing is you're now paying rent. You're now paying rent daily on your item that is on your shelf.
yeah, and actually, there's an incentive for eBay to show it to people that they know aren't gonna buy it because they're getting paid either way. So,
May the investors of eBay be happy.
I think we got a new person in the chat. I don't recognize the Ambling Gooner. I hope that's not an inappropriate thing.
No.
What is the most expensive book? Well, you have a really cool signed book, don't you?
Yeah, but it's not the most expensive. What is the biggest book?
Hmm.
Boy, these are some questions, huh? What is the most expensive book? The most expensive book? I mean, it's not about the most expensive book per se. I mean, there are books that are signed by artists or authors. I mean, what does a first edition signed Catcher in the Rye go for nowadays? 25, 30,
Tens of thousands,
40,000.
yeah.
Signed F. Scott Fitzgerald. What does that go for? A sign. I was just doing an interview on Destination Unknown with a Hemingway collector. What does a first edition Sun Also Rises by Hemingway sell for? I mean, these are tens and 20, $30,000 books. Um, what about a first edition Tolkien, first edition Dune? These are books that just keep going and going. And
But
I
I
don't,
think
I'm not a card catalog where I know the highest price book, but these are often being sold at Sotheby's and Christie auctions.
I would guess the absolute highest high of the market are probably Shakespeare first editions.
Oh, I just sold
The
another
first
exhibition catalog. Just sold another one.
Oh, good job, good job. I need to get in that market. I think the highest end of the market are probably like Gutenberg Bibles.
Mhm.
That's multi-millions of dollars, and then Shakespeare First Folio,
Right.
which are
Right.
unbelievably rare. There you're talking millions of dollars.
But then I think, not the most expensive, but there are holy grails out there. People like to try to find the Alcoholics Anonymous first edition.
Hmm. Yep.
There are grails out there that people consistently try to hunt and find. And I don't know. I mean, I think that if you're a good book hunter, you're going to find $1,000 books often enough to make you smile.
Yeah. And I think your best bet is to find old leather bindings are probably in really good
Oh
condition
yeah.
are probably your best bet that you're absolutely gonna strike gold if you find early leather books. All right, we got a
I'm
million
going to let you
questions.
take over the questions. I think it's No Time to Read is next.
No time to read. What are your thoughts on using a Libris or Abe instead of eBay?
We've talked
But
about this many, many, many times.
neither of us, you've never sold on either of us, have you?
I did sell on Abe at one time when eBay started taking off my erotica.
Okay, yeah.
So I did go over to Abe for erotica.
And I
And I
suppose your offensive books as well.
Mhm.
Um,
Your band books.
whether it's World War II German books or
Yeah.
Black Americana, stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess I would just like to see Abe or Ars Libra. I like to see them have a better interface, a better platform. There's nothing, it still looks like it's 1997 to me. And it's just not enticing. And if we're selling books, in 2024, I don't want a flat image of a book. Show me something. Show me
Yeah,
a 10
a lot of the
second
sellers
video.
a lot of sellers don't even have pictures, and then you're also scrolling through a lot of reprints as well that I wish Abe would get rid of. I think most of the people using Abe still to buy books are probably um the older booksellers that think there's more of a reputation because there
Sure.
are more antiquarian book dealers, more serious book dealers than
Right.
the newbie that just inherited grandma's books
Right.
is probably going to go to eBay.
Yeah, and I can't, please don't say the name. I know that you know, but I've been contacted by one of these platforms to help them do a facelift of their platform.
Mhm.
So I know that the chatter on the inside, they know they have to improve what they're doing.
Yeah, and you're just dealing with a much more smaller buyer pool than eBay and
Mhm.
Amazon and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
all right. What is the Grayson says that Jane Austen set I sold the other day was promoted. He did an auction. And again, you promote it based on a percentage of the sale price. So he said the total sale price was $930, transaction fees, which would be the final value fee
Mhm.
and the payment processing fee was 140. The label was 65. The ad fee for the promoted listings was 46.50. So take home was 678. So he sold it for 930 and left with less than 700 after all of the
And
fees.
what did Grayson? I know. I think he told us what he paid for it,
I think
didn't
he
he?
paid 350 for it.
Okay, so
350, 400.
he still made very good money,
Yep.
but you can clearly see in there that other things are taking pieces of the pie.
Yeah. eBay ended up with 200 and some bucks, like 230 bucks. So
Mhm.
no more than that. Um,
There are eBay sellers out there that would love to make $230 in a day.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Brown says, who do you think, who do you think in a fight, a sandworm from Dune or Macbeth? Who would win?
I'm
I
gonna
don't know
say
about Mac.
my character from 1983 when I was in Dungeons and Dragons, my gnome. My gnome would take them all.
If you don't know, Max was a very serious video game collector, right? And computer
Yeah.
collector.
Computers and computer game collector. Yeah.
What like so you were playing like Atari and Nintendo, and did you get into
Atari,
PlayStation and the modern ones?
ColecoVision and television. But I once, before all this craziness happened, I would check Craigslist looking for video games.
Yeah.
And I contacted a gentleman who was selling his collection of all these Atari consoles, Atari 400, 800, the disk drives, the cassette recorders, all of this. And he gave me for a few $100s, he gave me about 20 boxes of things. There were unmarked games that were I look back, I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? I mean, there were games that were just test games. There were components that had drill holes in the sides of it because they were experimenting with different accessories and logistics. And so this was back before there was, a YouTube for people to learn how to buy and selling things. And yeah, before I was selling books, I was definitely collecting video games, trying to recapture 1982 in a bottle.
Very cool. How did you sold that stuff on eBay, right?
Yeah, yeah, that was my first eBay stuff before books. I mean, my first eBay sale was books, but once I started understanding eBay, I was more of an everything store, and I just started selling the video games. I mean, we're talking about older Atari games and in television, and that's what really got me hooked before the books got me hooked. The book should have
Cool.
had me hooked years before it actually did. I don't know. I was too busy being a teacher and a basketball coach.
And you know what? There's so many of these general resellers that go to estate sales and auctions and resell full time that still overlook the books. They
Mhm.
don't mess with books at all. So
Thank God.
yeah, yeah, good for us. All right, someone was asking what a first edition of Mein Kampf sells for.
Wow.
I don't
was
know
a
if I've,
first, huh?
I don't even know what year the first edition was. I mean,
Well, you'd also want the first German edition, not the first
yeah,
American edition.
yeah.
Also, from Whatnot, I've sold two Easton Press Mein Kampfs before, and I think I got $800 and $900 subsequently for both of those. But a um, first edition Mein Kampf in German, I'm gonna guess is gonna get several thousand
Yeah.
dollars.
Yep.
I'm gonna say upwards of 5 to 10.
And that's what Grayson said was several thousands.
Yeah.
Um, and the problem, especially for eBay sellers, which is another reason to sell on Whatnot, is you can sell the annotated editions, the 19 like 39 to 42 annotated editions, not nothing that's not annotated. And actually, I tried auctioning off an annotated one that doesn't break eBay's rules, but apparently it got reported and got taken down. Um, so that's one thing you have to be careful about investing in those kind of books.
So it looks like we have a few new people. We have Mr. Brown, we have No Time to Read, and the Ambling Gooner, and
Mhm.
R Swiper. I would like to know where they're from, if they would be inclined to let us know where they're from, just so you and I know where we are reaching out to.
Yep. I'm in Wisconsin. Max is in Florida. All right. Mr. Brown says, does it damage the value of a book if eye holes have been cut out for no immoral reason? I wasn't spying. If eye holes were cut in a book, I'm not sure what that means.
Does this have to do with the books that you had?
Could be, I suppose.
Eye holes.
Yes, any sort of hole drilled in a book, any sort of paper loss
Do they
is.
mean wormholes?
If eye holes have been cut out for no immoral reason, I wasn't spy. I don't know. I'm not sure. That's a
We'll have to
confusing.
let Mr. Brown tell us what he means.
Yeah. Someone says you're correct about the more you search estate sales, garage sales, thrift shops, the more amazing stuff you can find. They found a signed Charles Lindbergh for a
Oh,
buck.
yeah.
Very cool.
It, I mean, if you and I could show everybody the paper gold Discord, I think people's jaws would drop
Mhm.
with the things they find on the daily. I mean, this isn't even the weekly. They're finding and selling things on the daily for hundreds and thousands of dollars.
And actually, I think a lot of the people in the group, one of the best things they do is make connections at the estate sales or the estate sale people and the auctioneers and say, hey, I deal in books. Here's my business card. And then they get calls because most of these other people, same with you going to flea markets, there's so many people that know you as the book guy and they have your card and they'll call you when they come across
Yeah.
books.
When I get to the flea market in the early morning when it's still dark out, the people who have books to sell, they know when they see me, they're yelling, book guy. They want me, they're letting me know they got books.
Yep.
So yeah, you give them a business card and you do your business.
Um, so I don't see any other questions in chat. I have an interesting topic to ask you about negotiating
Mhm.
tactics.
Oh,
If someone has let's just say a single book to keep it easy. If someone has a book that you think is worth, let's say $1,000,
okay.
um, what do you and what you offer them varies a lot. If it's something you can sell tomorrow, you might give them five, six, seven, probably not seven or $500 or $600. But more than likely, a book dealer is willing to pay two, three, $400 for $1,000 book.
You and I are two different businessmen with books. You and I are completely different. So this is a great conversation. Um, I'm not really out there buying a book for 200 to sell for 500. I'm out there hunting for the paper gold, looking in boxes of books, looking in old bookstores. So I'm not really, you make videos about this, but you'll go to neighboring antiquarian bookshops and you'll spend a very good deal of money on beautiful binding books and to sell them, which is the opposite of what I do. I'm more of the treasure hunter. And I try to like to make my living based on my knowledge of the book market. And so, it doesn't have to be a book from the 1800s for me to make money. It could be like I just sold that exhibition catalog for $48. You can find exhibition catalogs at flea markets very frequently. You just have to know what they look like. And usually if you find one, you're going to find the box of 30, 40, or 100. So I just think, you hunt in a certain way and I hunt in a completely different way.
And I will say when I'm buying a box of books, I'm willing to pay up for it because I can have it sold within like 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Whereas most bookstores, and I think historically bookstores have paid too much for their inventory. I think usually for cash they will give you anywhere from maybe from 25 to 35% of what they're going to sell it for. That's kind of historically been the wisdom. But if most of the books you have are going to take 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years, you're never going to sell them, the math kind of doesn't add up paying anywhere
Yeah.
near
Right,
25%.
because you also have to look at the space. How much space do you have to have bookshelves?
Hmm.
I mean, I've been in this house for 13 going on 14 years. And when I bought this house, I wasn't selling books, but the house had a 3-car garage. But there was no thought in my girlfriend at the time used to park the car in the garage. Uh, so there was no thought of me of making my garage into this book oasis. Um, so things worked out in my favor for that, but space is a giant issue. And that is why I'm such a fan of what you do. No matter what the book is valued at, it's going up for 99 cents 99% of the time. You'll
Hmm.
do you'll do some buy it nows and best offers, but 99% of the books you buy are going up for 99 cents because you have built a clientele who will come to your store daily to see what's new. And so that's genius and brilliant on your part. And I think I would like to see more of the paper golders not do their entire inventory like that, but activate some of their inventory at that level. Because if you can do that even 5 to 10 times a day, you are going to create sales. You are going to create new people coming in to look at your store, look at your inventory, and subsequently buy from you. So having those 99-cent auctions it's the Costco hot dog to me.
And I think like
Bring them in.
for the average person that's just doing buy it nows on eBay to sell kind of most nights it's anywhere from 300 to 1,200 bucks for me.
Yeah.
To sell that much every single day, I would need well over 10,000 books. I mean,
Right.
that's a lot of space and a lot of listing.
And
And
that's why you do have to shop the way you do for books, because if you stop doing your auctions, you're going to start losing your customer base.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
you almost have to stay ahead of the game and be a frequent buyer.
Yeah, I don't know what would happen. It's been I can't remember the last time I had zero listings up on eBay. I mean, no auctions running. When I went to Detroit, I took off 4 nights, so there was 4 or 5 nights that no new listings were popping up, or nothing was selling those nights. Um, but I guess my store would be completely dead
Was
if
that was that emotionally weird to you? We haven't talked
I
about that.
yeah, I mean, I'm doing auctions 6 days a week, 52 weeks a year. I get Tuesday nights off without auctions. Otherwise, there it's just I don't even know if I like Thanksgiving stuff will end Thanksgiving night. If I'm smart enough and plan ahead in time, I won't have anything end Christmas Eve and Christmas night. But even people will buy stuff any night of the year. New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, they'll buy books.
And this is one thing we say about Whatnot. I did that experiment a couple weeks ago, selling books at Faith Farm at 9 in the morning, and you and I, for 2 weeks, were thinking, will anybody buy books at 9 in the morning? And people were buying books at 9 in the morning. I
Well,
think
and you
a lot of times we underestimate the book buying public.
and most of your shows are at in the middle of the afternoon for the most
Mhm.
part. But then there's a lot of people that do nighttime shows because there's more people shopping, but
Yep.
then there's also more competition. I get asked all the time when is a good time for book auctions to end on eBay. I would guess there's more people that are available to be bidding at night. A lot of people are at work and can't be on their phones bidding on stuff most of the day. But then you also have international buyers, so you kind of got to cater to that.
I mean, you and I both know the thread of conversation on this has always been ended on Sunday, ended on Sunday. That's what everybody always says. But you and I know better. The people will buy any day, any time, any
Yep.
moment. I mean, I
I mean,
wouldn't I wouldn't end too early in the morning, but again, too early in the morning is the evening on another part of the world. So, you
and
know,
I will say, I also bid on stuff all day long, all day, every day. I'm bidding on stuff, and I have bidding competition no matter what time of the day it is. There is one person that I really like to buy books from, and their books end at like I forget 10:30, 11 o'clock my time. It's past my bedtime. I'm not staying up that late to bid on stuff. So I
okay,
have to bid
you
early.
put your pre bids in.
Yeah, I put a pre-bid in, but I mean, if I could bid at the last second, I usually get caught up and bid extra. I
Mhm.
hate bidding 2 hours before an item ends.
Yeah.
I just don't like doing that, but it forces me to because it's unless it's something really, really good, I'm not staying up a bit on it.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone else in the chat want to let us
Nobody
know where
even
you're
told
from.
us where they were from. I mean, nobody even told us where they're from. Mr. Brown ignored us. No Time to Read ignored us. R.
And Anthony,
Swiper ignored us. I mean, we're being ignored on a question. Do they hate us that much?
Max, some people just like to linger in the chat. They just like to watch, you know? That's okay. I'm thinking about doing some whatnot shows in the next few weeks. My problem is, unlike you, I overthink everything about like,
You
okay, do I
froze.
want, uh-oh,
You're
am I still
freezing.
froze? I'm freezing. How about now?
You're freezing.
Are you sure it's not your internet?
Better, but it's there's a delay for you.
How about now?
Better now.
Okay, good.
We just lost about
Uh,
50 seconds of your genius
uh-oh.
insight.
Grayson says we're ghosting him. He said harder to know what you're doing back then, but it seems like it would be easier to sell higher. I would self-identify as a treasure hunter as well. He's a treasure hunter like you, Max.
Yeah, and you can, yeah, but Grace, you can make your living as a treasure hunter. But it
Yeah.
doesn't always have to be $100 treasures. I sell plenty of $20 books all day long.
And actually, Max says he's a treasure hunter, but also he's a bulk buyer. Let's be
Mhm. Yeah,
realistic.
mhm,
How
mhm.
many how many pallets did you buy like 4 months ago?
Yeah, but that's a special circumstance too. I'm not buying 14 pallets of books every month. That was a special circumstance that came around to me. Um, but I built my business as a treasure hunter. I built my business as a cherry picker. I would go to the Goodwill bins every day after school and buy 30, 40, 50, 100 books if they were there. And I slowly built the business and the inventory with a vision in mind.
Well, and actually, maybe next week we should talk about your consignment business because that's where a lot of I mean,
Right. And that's where my life
I
changed.
guess
My life changed because of the consignment business.
it
Yeah.
depends month by month. Some months you get a huge consignment, some weeks you have a huge buyout. Um, so I mean it really varies, but I think that's something we should really talk about next week is your
Put it on. Yeah.
consignment end and
Put
how
it
you
on.
do it. Yep, and kind of the numbers and all that stuff. Notice to read, we just wanted to know where you're from. And if
We
you're a
can
reseller, if you're a collector,
tell us
feel free
about
to.
you. Tell us. We're not going to dig deep. A little bit.
Well, I don't know if you say something, Max is gonna. If you're from Boston, Max is gonna have stories about his
I got a
upbringing.
story for you. I got a story.
Max, why doesn't your dad? Do you need to share your these videos with your dad so he can hop in the chat?
Oh, you don't want his accent in the chat.
Oh, come
If
on.
my almost non-accent bothers you, you would hate that accent.
No, you have
Oh,
oh no,
Central Florida.
notice to read. Okay. What are you? Are you
Not
Western?
notice, it's no time to read.
Oh, sorry, no time. My
Yeah.
bad. You know I'm dyslexic.
I have a feeling, no time. Are you on Whatnot as well? You've been to my shows? There's
Are
another
you?
guy who has a similar name, but I think his has a name Jerry. Like Jerry's got no time to read.
Could be.
Oh,
He
I
used to
love
sell
that.
books 20 years ago. Wow.
Paper
How could
gold,
you,
paper
how could
gold.
you, how could you ever get out of the book selling business?
Yeah, now is the time to be in.
Yes, he has. Does that mean he's been to your sales,
Man,
your whatnot?
it's such a great time. What did you sell 20 years ago? Oh, okay, that was him. Okay. I put
Yep.
one and one together. That was him. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So what got you out? Man, I would never get out now.
No. Yeah, but I mean, it is a very tough business. Owning a bookstore is not always, I don't know how some people do it.
Nonfiction.
Nonfiction.
Did you have a
What about,
store or was it eBay, Amazon? What was the platforms?
yeah, I think nonfiction is my go-to. Mostly
And
just because,
we're in Central Florida too. Come on down. Let's go. Let's talk books. Come on down. I'm in Deerfield Beach. I get that. I get that. He had a real job. I get that. You got to get back in, man. You got to get back in. It is such a great time to be a bookseller. It really, truly is.
I
With
think
all
that
the
is,
complaints you and I have, Ken, it is a great time to be a bookseller.
yeah, sells on eBay, Alibris, and Abe.
Mm,
I will say I think that's how most people fall into book selling is they start out as collectors and
mhm.
maybe they're weeding out their collections a little bit or buy a box of books because they want a few for their personal collection and then just before you know it they decide to open a bookstore. Grace,
Grayson, tell no time to read to get into paper gold.
yeah.
Grayson just joined last week.
Hmm.
And Grayson was on the Thursday call already. He was there on Thursday.
Yep, he was there.
He was there.
Uh-oh, Notice Street has thousands of books, so he has to the inventory to start. Yes.
Come
Notice
on.
Street.
You got to start.
Books.
Let us motivate you to start. It's a great time to be a bookseller. It
Yeah.
is a magnificent time. You can get a hold of me if you want. You can get a hold of me if you want.
Well, and actually,
You can call me.
you know what? For someone new, it wouldn't be a horrible suggestion. Yeah.
You
Five
can
six one
yeah,
six
you can
five
call me if
nine
you want.
four four three two.
We can talk.
Great. Max is stealing all my customers.
Yeah.
Uh, do you know what? Do you know what some good advice maybe for someone new getting into the game is they have these programs where you upload your pictures and your description and everything, and then it puts it on eBay, A
Right.
Books, Alibris, probably Etsy and Poshmark, all those different sites, and it's probably pretty reasonable just to get your books on as many websites as you
Right.
can.
Now, yeah, you know, I hear and I watch a lot of people who cross post, not just books, but they just cross post all their items. And I
Mhm.
watch their videos on YouTube and they're still selling minimal amounts. To me, it almost has the feel of it not being worth it. So, you know, somebody will do, oh, here's what I sold in October show. And they'll say, okay, I sold 78 items on eBay, 14 on Poshmark, 3 on Etsy, and 1 on
Yeah.
Mercari. Like
Yeah.
it just seems like there's a lot of extra work going in to those other platforms, whatever those platforms are, that sometimes it's easier just to focus on the 1 or 2 platforms.
Well, what if it was as easy as you get a ding on your phone saying, "Hey, you sold this on Etsy." You go to Etsy.com and you print off your label, and it automatically delists it from all the other websites. I
Right.
mean, and especially if it wasn't a ton of work and effort to do it, I mean, it would be worth it to get an extra couple $100 in
Right.
sales for the month.
Yeah, well, as you know, I've been cross posting my eBay inventory to Amazon, and the books that have already sold on Amazon, I do have to take off of eBay. And I've already been caught once with something selling on Amazon. I waited an hour and it sold on eBay, so I had to cancel that eBay sale. Um, so it isn't a perfect system. Now, I'm not saying it's not worth it. Um, to sell three, four, five more books a day over the course of a year is a hell of a number. You do want to do that. I'm just saying over the course of a month, if it's only a few extra, I just don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah. Notice to read says that he hasn't thought of Etsy, and Grayson also says, I've considered putting some of the art type stuff on Etsy, like the two books I recently put in Discord. He put a really cool one of a kind handwritten ledger. That was awesome.
Mhm.
Um, and you know what? Etsy seems to be a place more of the kind of crafty, journalistic type things.
But didn't we have a paper golder who sold an expensive book on Etsy or Posh? I forget who it was. They
I
sold
think it was
something.
Etsy. It was a H.G. Wells book for
Mhm.
I think over $700.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you know, Etsy doesn't have the competition, so sometimes people ask aggressive prices, and then they get those aggressive
yeah.
prices.
That was a paper
That
golder.
that the Etsy customer base is different. They're very different. Let's
Yeah.
just say that. What do you think? You want to go a little bit, or should we wrap it up?
Got a couple more minutes. It looks like we got 10 people in the chat. All I care about is I want to know where we got Central Florida, we got Grayson. I just want to know where everybody else is from. I don't want
Yeah.
them to be shy. We're good people. We don't bite. Well, yeah, we do.
I know Max likes rating
Oh, there's
people.
Melanie. There's a paper golder in the house.
Oh, Addie and Amanda have some stuff on Etsy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There's Melanie. There's another
Well, now
paper
Max,
golder.
I'm curious. I would assume there's an app where you can easily transfer your items from eBay over to Amazon and then it would automatically delist them. But
It's
for you to
easier.
learn
Yeah, it's
that,
easier to go from eBay. I mean, it's easier to go from Amazon to eBay, harder to go from
okay,
eBay to Amazon.
yeah, and for you to learn a new program would be
That's why I pay someone.
cannot teach an old dog new tricks.
Not going to teach me new tricks.
Hey, Melanie, welcome. Glad you made it.
Love Melanie. Melanie's been with us for a while. Love Melanie.
I'll write it down. Next week, we're going to start the show by talking about your consignment.
Love
Consignments.
that. Love that. Any
I
other
mean,
last minute questions before Ken kicks us out? Any last minute questions, anybody? 11 people in the chat.
we can
Pick
go
our
all night.
brains. Pick our brains.
I'm getting YouTube ad revenue. This is going to be like a 78-cent profit show for me.
You
So,
better send me half of that. I am half of this party.
would you like quarters or nickels or
I'll
dimes or
take the
pennies?
nickels pre 1965, please.
I might even round up to a dollar. No, actually, since you're only getting half, it'd probably be only 50 cents.
People need to realize that we do this because we love talking about it.
Yeah.
There's no money being made here.
If people knew how much me and Max talk about books every day, they'd think we're both crazy.
I'm glad we got no time to read motivate. Yeah, you call me, you call Kent, doesn't matter. You call either one of us, and we would love to get you going and inspire you. And this is what we really love to do. We are big fans. Books have changed both of our lives. Selling used books have changed both of our lives, and we both do firmly agree it's only getting better. That's why we
And I,
want you to be in it.
and I would say one thing about me and Max and most people in the book industry is they sell books because they love books. Me and Max, we could succeed at selling stamps or coins or jewelry or knickknacks or glassware, but we don't really care about glassware, so we don't usually deal in it.
I used to.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Kent. Another, what was that? You said that was episode 10?
Episode 10, almost
Unbelievable.
for 47 minutes.
Unbelievable. Oh, Grace has got one more thing.
Um, what do you say to my aversion to listing because of the uncertainty of their true value?
Price it high and the market will tell you. Just stop paralyzing yourself because you can't find something. Go with your gut, price it at a number you want to go with. If it doesn't sell in 30 days, you know you're too high.
Okay, but I will
Stop
say,
being
yeah,
afraid.
Well, I know, but Grayson is, most people that are afraid to list stuff because they think it could possibly be really valuable. Grayson actually has some really valuable stuff. He's
Mhm.
just not sure how. Most people have a book that they can't find comps on, and
Right.
realistically, me and you can look at it and we'd be like, I don't think that has
Yeah,
much value.
but Grayson also, I've sold ledgers before. I've sold ledgers from mercantile stores in the 1800s.
Yeah.
While it's fascinating and amazing and historical to look at, there's also a lot of them out there. And so, it all depends on what's in that ledger. And yeah, you can price high and wait and wait and wait, but in the end, you're going to find another ledger, Grayson. You're going to find another great book. And I am so against not pricing something. If you want to price it very high, price it very high and see what happens. The worst thing that can happen, there's no views, there's no watchers, and you decrease the price. But I can tell you, I am not emotionally connected to any of the books. I sell books to make money. Bottom line.
And I think one of the things that scares people is some people get nervous when an item sells the day they list it or maybe an hour after they listed it. Um,
Yeah, but again, I just sold that catalog for $48, a 16-page catalog. It was listed last night, and even if it's worth $85 or 115, for me to get nearly $50 from it, from a buy that I did almost a year ago, that I'm already in the profit, it I don't have to get the same comp. I just have to continue making money. And that's where some booksellers go wrong.
Grayson says this is where we get into the auction versus buy it now rabbit hole.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
I
I
mean,
will say, uh, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm brave, but I do put books, Bibles that I paid $200 for up for eBay.
mhm,
And I'm 90% sure I'm not going to lose money on them,
mm,
but there is a chance. I mean, occasionally I take a $50 loss on a
yeah,
book.
yeah. And I'm
Um,
always putting up great books on Whatnot for a
yeah,
dollar.
yep,
And I mean, I did an auction today, and I did just about $400 in that auction. And people who bought those books are going to make some money off of those books, but that's part of the
yep.
book food chain to me. But that $400 with my eBay day today and my Amazon today, quite honestly and transparently, is going to get me to close to $2,000 today. That's more than my 2-week paycheck when I was a teacher. That's how I view the book business.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for that motivational speech here to end the show.
Thank you
Thank you,
again.
everybody. We'll see you next.